And joining us now is Dr. Leroy Chiao. Thank you so much for weighing in, providing additional insight to this story. So, as Xavier reported, SpaceX's latest attempt to push boundaries isn't coming without some hiccups we're seeing. What's your reaction to these delays, and do you see this launch happening on Friday?
Sure. As you heard, there are no technical issues now. It's just a matter of forecast weather for the recovery area. And of course, we have to consider that for safety. Reminds me a lot about the days when we were launching shuttles over that 30-year period. We would have weather constraints, not necessarily at the launch site, but maybe overseas at an abort site. This is just what comes with the territory. This is part of the business. You're going to have delays. SpaceX, impressive their launch cadence. Over the last year, I believe they've launched a rocket every 3 days or so. And so you're going to have these hiccups now and then, either technical or weather. So it's, unfortunately, this crew's getting hit with both. But now the technical's solved. It's just a matter of getting a good forecast for recovery.
We know this mission, it doesn't come without additional risks as well. What are some of the biggest dangers, and how are crews facing them right now?
Well, sure. I have to admit it raised my eyebrows a little bit where you're going to have this non-professional crew actually go up and test a brand new spacesuit. Not only go outside, but go outside in a brand new spacesuit that's never been, tested in the environment before. They're also going to have to depressurize the whole cabin. So that means everyone's going to be in their spacesuits, and they're going to have to be able to successfully repressurize that. And, the spacecraft has to work afterwards. None of that has been done yet. Now, having said that, I know the folks over at SpaceX. I know they take safety very seriously. They're technically excellent. So I have confidence that this will go off as planned. So it is exciting. It's groundbreaking. The brand new suit has been thoroughly tested, I'm sure, in the thermal vacuum chambers, as has the spacecraft under those conditions being depressurized. So I think it's going to go off, finally, when the weather forecasts are good, it's going to go.
All right, excellent. Despite all of these risks, SpaceX is arguing that this mission should go on because there is so much that can be gleaned from this experience. What do you think we will be learning after this mission is over from this operation? How will it impact space exploration in the future?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's going to happen on this mission is the spacewalk, first with, non-NASA or, Russian or Chinese trained astronauts, but with, civilian trained astronauts. And there's nothing wrong with that. I understand they've been preparing for about 2.5 years for this. So I think it's a new era, if you will. I think we will see in the future companies like SpaceX have their own astronaut corps. Right. And so that's going to change the dynamic. It's not going to be just the government astronauts anymore. So it's an exciting new era. It's been taking some time for this commercial side to unfold, but it's starting to really do that.
You're right. Back to the Boeing Starliner astronauts for just a moment. They're not coming back now until February, we're learning. Sunny Williams' mother saying she's not concerned, but that's a long time. Is it normal to be up there that long? Considering these circumstances, what does that sort of extended stay entail?
Sure. I mean, this was certainly unexpected by anyone. But astronauts were adaptable. We're trained to be able to roll with the punches and adapt to the new situation. Butch and Sunny are consummate professionals. I'm sure they're doing just fine. They certainly weren't expecting to stay up there till February. But the astronauts like to be in space. The flip side of that is nobody likes, a surprise like that, right? And so I'm sure personal plans were impacted and affected, but I'm sure they've all seemed to have adapted very, very nicely. On my own case, 2 months before launch, we almost had to go fly for a year instead of 6 months, and that was kind of a shock to the system. And it ended up working out where we were only going to go, and ended up being 6 months, but I know what that kind of shock and surprise is like.
Yeah, firsthand. So what do you do in that situation to stay physically and mentally strong for a longer trip?
Well, you just do it. There's no training program. There's no anything like that. Astronauts we are very much can-do people, very motivated. Let's get the job done. Very mission oriented. So, I think any of us would have stepped right up and said, "Okay, well, here's the new situation, and this is what we're going to do, and let's think through all the things that I have to deal with, and put them all to bed, and keep going with the mission."
Yeah, absolute professionals. All right, former NASA astronaut and International Space Station Commander, Dr. Leroy Chiao. Thank you, sir, for your time this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.